Okay, with that said, I see Representative Casamaro and Representative Craven. Would you please come forward? I understand and thank you graciously for waiting upon us as we move. And Vice Chair Speakman, would you please begin?
This is 5124, Mr. Chairman.
5124.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're opening the hearing on 5124, Coastal and Riverine Home Protection, sponsored by Representatives Casimiro and Craven. This is an act relating to towns and cities, coastal and riverine home protection. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairwoman. This bill comes to us from the Rhode Island Realtors Association. It's basically enabling legislation that allows cities and towns to provide a tax exemption to individuals who take resiliency measures to rehabilitate their property because of flood hazards. The real expert is David Salvatore, and I believe he is on the line. Did he sign up for testimony? Yes.
He did, yes.
He told me he was going to be on the line.
So David Salvatore is going to testify? Yep. We also have two written testimonies from Jordan Goyette and Jay O'Grady. Yes. Thank you.
While we're waiting, wait, we have him, okay. We're ready, right? Okay.
Mr. Salvatore, are you there to testify on H 5124?
Yes, I am.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. David Salvatore again, representing the Rhode Island Association of Realtors. In your packet, you should have some written testimony by the Realtors Association. If you don't, it is posted on the website. The bill before you has been introduced now for the last 3 years, I believe, and it's been hung up for a lot of different reasons. Not because there isn't support for it. There is broad support, actually. And I think Representative Casimiro summed it up well. What this bill basically does is provide for a tax exemption or an incentive to those homeowners whose homes are located within a floodplain in Rhode Island. The incentive would be for the homeowner to make structural improvements to their home to mitigate against flood damage. And if you look at the legislation that is before you, there is a list of qualified structural improvements consistent with a list that's provided for by FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, I think over the last several years, if not more, we've talked a lot about mitigation and what the state should be doing in terms of combating climate change. And this is just one tool in the toolbox. And for those of you who are familiar with the National Flood Insurance Program, that is a federal subsidy that allows homeowners to insure their properties within a floodplain. But Congress has not done a very good job of creating a clear and predictable plan in terms of renewing that or creating a permanent solution. They've taken a Band-Aid approach to creating that permanent solution by just renewing the NFIP every year. And it always comes up during budget talks. Several years ago, there was threat of a government shutdown, which would have impacted the NFIP. So again, the bill before you would hopefully offset some of the costs of making those structural improvements to these homes within a floodplain. You know, 2 years ago, there was an interesting article in the Providence Journal that indicated almost $45 million in real estate appreciation between 2005 and 2017 was impacted, which ultimately results in changes in assessment and less revenue for cities and towns to fund projects like infrastructure, upgrading stormwater systems, and managing those heavier storm flows, and of course public buildings throughout every municipality in Rhode Island to decrease energy use. So, this has had a profound effect not only in Rhode Island, but throughout the Northeast. That same article indicated that $403 million in coastal property value has been impacted as a result of climate change. But when we talk about climate change, it's not only the coastal properties that are impacted, it's a lot of inland properties as well. West Warwick, Cranston, who we hear about, it seems like during every major rainstorm in the state. These homes have been impacted, negatively impacted by climate change. So again, the bill that you are vetting tonight would provide for a tax exemption at the municipal level, very similar to formulas that have been set for for senior citizens, for veterans, for Gold Star parents. Homeowners would be able to apply for a tax exemption based on the cost of those structural improvements, and the local tax assessor would be charged with creating that formula. Again, this is not the solution to sea level rise in Rhode Island and in flooding, but we believe that it is one tool that homeowners should be able to take advantage of when they do make those structural improvements to their homes, so that they can offset some of the mitigation costs that they would absorb as a result of making those structural improvements to their homes. I'm happy to take any questions at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions for Mr. Salvatore? Representative Morales?
Yes, Mr. Salvatore. How long would these tax exemptions be in place for?
So they would begin during the tax year when the rehabilitation or the improvements were made. If there is, if the tax exemption is less than the amount of the improvement, then it would carry over to the next year or until that exemption fully expires.
In other words, it would not be permanent then, correct?
No.
Thank you.
Absolutely not.
Vice Chair Fogarty?
Yes, Salvador, this wouldn't include putting boulders up like on the ocean and ocean properties and then impeding some beaches or public access to beaches? That sometimes happens with some of these. I'm just concerned about that.
That's a good question. As you know, the general public has a right to the water. That's what many of these easements are set up to achieve. On page 4 of the legislation is a list of what would be approved improvements to homes based on information that we gathered through FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security.
And I know that we did a bill too on structural elevation with that sideboarding bill a couple of years back. So wasn't that addressed, or do you recall that?
I don't recall, Rep.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just going off of the list that was provided to us
right.
by FEMA and CRMC.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep.
Are there other questions for Mr. Salvatore? Hearing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, everyone.
I also have a statement here from Jed Thorpe of Save the Bay. It is neutral pending a change. I assume you have this letter? Yeah.
I do.
Anything from Chairwoman Casimiro, Chairman Craven? Anything further?
No, I support the bill, Madam Chair, and I believe it's a great way for the municipality to be able to finance fixing waterfront properties, waterview properties. At the same time, having that be a temporary solution, but the valuation of the house is a permanent solution that will increase the revenues of the municipalities and pay for itself. So I think it's a great piece of legislation.
Thank you, Chairman. Anything else on this bill? And that'll be it for this hearing, and then we'll move right on to Bill 5125, also sponsored by Reps. Casimiro and Craven, with regard to hemp growth.
Thank you, Chairwoman. In the summer of 2019, a hemp farm, a very large hemp farm, surfaced in North Kingstown, and it caused a great deal of problems for the neighbors. There was a really bad stench that the neighbors had to suffer all summer long. It caused a lot of personal problems for them, and it increased crime in our community because people coming in to steal the hemp. So Chairman Craven and I met with the town council members and the neighbors that were impacted by this, and we've talked a lot about it. We had several meetings, and we just want to give them a tool in their toolbox for the town of North Kingstown in the event that this hemp farm surfaces again, that they can regulate what's going on. It has the support of the town council. I believe you all have a letter from our town council president in support of it. You will be getting an updated resolution. The resolution that you got was from 2020, I believe. They are going to be updating that resolution in the February 22nd meeting of the town council. So basically, it's just giving the town, if they need it, a chance to do something about a problem that comes up, may come up again. Do you want to say anything?
Chairman Craven?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Without knowing for sure whether there are other people that have signed up to oppose this bill, I'm aware of a law called the Right to Farm Act, which actually deals with odors that emanate from farms that grow products. I had a chance, as did Chairwoman Julie Casamaro, to smell what this smells like. This is unique. It smells like a skunk, and it lasts for about 6 weeks. And there are legitimate ways to control this that the municipality right now cannot exercise any local ordinances or create any local ordinances in order to control it because of the Right to Farm Act. And I'm not saying the Right to Farm Act prohibits these activities of trying to control this. I believe the interpretation that the local solicitor was conservative. And so the suggestion was legislation. So we're here to create this opportunity for creation. That'll be subject to court scrutiny and interpretation of whether that is violative of the Right to Farm Act, so that we can, if the farm comes back or other farms of that nature come back to grow hemp. As you remember, maybe 4 years ago, we created this opportunity for hemp to be grown and sold as a product. It has taken off to some degree, so I expect it might repeat itself in other parts of the state. I believe there was once one in Smithfield, and I'm not sure if it's still active. But there needs to be some tools to control the plant when it blooms and it gives off kind of a powdery substance that gets in the air, and that can be controlled with there's a netting form that could be placed over the top of these plants that would stop that smell from happening, and everybody could be happy. So, thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Representative Morales.
Representative, in your
Yes.
conversations with different cities and towns,
Yep.
what are the different types of actions that cities can take or adopt to address, again, some of the issues surrounding hemp cultivation?
Well, there is a statutory scheme for where you could grow it, how you can grow it. It's nowhere near as restrictive, obviously, as marijuana and the medical side. But this problem is outside of that. Unfortunately, I voted for the hemp bill, so nobody thought about this. I think I can honestly tell you, I didn't know it smelled
Well, I don't know. How do they feel?
until my neighbors started calling me in my district and said, this is terrible. So we're filling in a piece that probably we would have addressed when we originally legalized it, that this was an oversight. And again, it's not a mandatory thing. The municipality has to come up with a scheme that does not
on the list.
violate the farming rights
He wants to know.
that this individual has and any other individual, but just manners and methods for controlling the smell.
Mr. Morales.
Representative, earlier you mentioned the netting and how
Yeah.
you would place the netting over the plant that would reduce the smell. Is that an example, though, of like something the city could mandate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Do you,
Yes, Representative Fogel.
I know exactly where the farm is. 'Cause
You got a call.
It abuts my district, and I have to drive by there, and it was unbelievable, and it is. It's just like all summer long, smelling like really, really strong skunk when you take the bend down there out in the, I won't mention where it is in case anybody, I don't want to have any more problems, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and something really needs to be done. I feel bad for some of the houses around
Yes.
there. Thank you.
Are there other questions?
Thank you. Thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you. We have written testimony in opposition from Margaret Sweeney and Jordan Goyette. We have Heidi Quinn on the phone, perhaps? Perhaps not.
Mr. CP?
Is this Heidi Quinn?
Yes, it is.
Hello, we're ready to receive your testimony on H 5125. You're with the Municipal Government and Housing Committee. Please proceed.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Chairman Hall and committee members. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to this bill. My name's Heidi Quinn. I'm the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Farm Bureau. We have submitted written testimony, and I'm going to review that for the benefit of those simply listening tonight. Rhode Island Farm Bureau is opposed to H 5125 relating to the Hemp Growth Act. In 1982, when the Right to Farm Act was enacted, the General Assembly declared it is the policy of the state to promote an environment in which agricultural operations are safeguarded against nuisance actions arising out of conflicts between agricultural operations and urban land uses. This provided Rhode Island farmers with the assurance that normal farming practices undertaken in any town or municipality in the state would be safe from nuisance actions resulting from odors, dust, noise, and pesticide use in accordance with agricultural best management practices. Then in 2011, a Rhode Island General Law 45-2437 relating to general ordinances, general provisions, permitted uses was enacted stating, notwithstanding any other provisions of this chapter, plant agriculture is a permitted use within all zoning districts of a municipality, including all industrial and commercial zoning districts, except where prohibited for public health or safety reasons or the protection of wildlife habitat. These acts of legislation were passed to help promote and continue agriculture in our state. Today we ask the committee oppose the addition of 22611 to the Hemp Growth Act. Industrial hemp is an agricultural product, and to remove its propagation, cultivation, and harvest from the protection of our state's Right to Farm Act is a blow to agriculture in our state. Rhode Island's hemp farmers have complied with the Rhode Island Department of Business Regulations' strict requirements for licensing as we all navigated a path towards industrial hemp as a modern agricultural product in Rhode Island. There are nearly 24 growers and processors of hemp in Rhode Island who have followed these stringent and specific laws at significant expense to produce this versatile crop. Rhode Island Farm Bureau also has some serious concerns about the need to protect citizens' health, safety, and welfare from the impact of hemp cultivation and any of its derivative products. Hemp derivatives such as CBD, seed oil, fibers, etc., find vast applications in many end-use industries such as food and beverage, personal care, pharmaceuticals, animal feed, building materials, rope, textiles, clothing and shoes, paper, bioplastics, insulation, and even biofuel. We question the need to protect citizens from these hemp derivative products. Rhode Island Farm Bureau opposes H 5125, and we ask that the committee not support the proposed change to the Hemp Growth Act, as it contradicts the Rhode Island Right to Farm Act, as well as Rhode Island General Law 45-2437, which allows plant agriculture in all zoning districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Next, we'll hear from Council President Greg Mancini from North Kingstown. President Mancini?
Hello. Yes.
Hi, welcome to the committee. You're here to testify on House Bill 5125 regarding hemp growth. Please proceed.
I am.
Yep, please proceed.
Hello.
We're listening, Greg.
Thanks a lot, Chairman. I have my computer on. Maybe I should shut it off.
would be nice.
Thank you. Hello, committee members. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my testimony. I'll be very brief. I submitted a letter, and as Rep. Casimiro indicated, I submitted a copy of our resolution from 2020, and we will. We have a meeting on the 22nd of February, and we'll have another resolution there. I thought Rep. Casimiro and Rep. Craven did an excellent job of outlining the issue. I want to say that, North Kingstown supports farmers, okay? But we also support our residents. And as Rep. Craven indicated, the smell of this crop is awful. And I think it will contribute to a significant decrease in property values if the General Assembly does not allow us to act. We are not suggesting, contrary to the previous speaker, that we should eliminate this crop. On the contrary, North Kingstown has great rural character, and we want this and other crops to, have farmers who want to have access to these crops. However, because of the smell, communities like North Kingstown should have the right to regulate the smell because of the adverse impact it has on our property values. And I think that is a fair compromise. I think that's consistent with the intent of the Right to Farm Act, which, it goes back a number of years. And I think that, times have changed, and, there's more encroachment upon farm property with residential development. And so I think the people who buy those residential properties have the right to peaceable and quiet enjoyment of the property that they purchase. I can tell you that in 2019 they did not. So I think that this is a very important piece of legislation for the peaceable and quiet enjoyment of our property, of our residential property owners, but also for the property values of the community of North Kingstown. And I strongly urge this committee to pass this legislation. I certainly will take any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Council President Mancini? Hearing none, we thank you for your testimony.
That concludes.
Thank you.
And that concludes the hearing on H 5125. Thank you.
Next bill, Representative Kazar will be taking 5330. Vice Chair Fogarty, please.
And this is an act validating and ratifying amendments to the Homeroom Charter of the town of Barrington. Representative Kazar. Sorry. 5330, an act validating and ratifying amendments to the Homeroom Charter of the town of Barrington, and Representative Kazar is here. Representative.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the committee. We are here today, I'm on behalf of my colleague Jason Knight as well, Rep. Knight, and the bill is simply to ratify the local ballot questions that came to the ballot as a result of April and June town council meetings during 2020. Two of the questions are related to outdated material in the town charter. The third question is in regards to simplifying the process of the financial town meeting. And then finally, the final two questions have to do with the budget process. And all of the paperwork and resolutions were submitted with the legislation when it was filed.
Thank you.
Okay, and there are no other people to testify on that? Are there any questions for Representative Kazar? No? Hearing none, I send it back to you, Chair.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move forward to 5258. I'll be taking this one on behalf of Representative Edwards. The act amends the charter, the chapter of 974 of the public laws of 1940 entitled An Act to Incorporate the Stonebridge Fire District and to furnish a supply of water for the town of Tiverton. I spoke to Representative Edwards prior to the meeting today, and basically, it authorized Stonebridge Fire District to borrow up to $100,000 in funds to meet specific short-term financial obligations. During this COVID situation, many times this district, as I was given from Representative Edwards, they didn't have enough money to operate. So this is what this bill is trying to do, to make them operate in this pandemic or other situations that may come up. But specifically for the pandemic, that was told by Representative Edwards to me. So, any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. I definitely agree with the principles of the bill. Where are they being borrowed from? I was trying to read the text and I couldn't come to determination.
I think they're taking the money from their own town, but I'm not sure. That's just this. I was just giving it from Representative Edwards, but I can get you that answer.
Representative.
Thank you.
I can get you that. Okay.
All right, and there's no testimony on that bill, so I move that we close House Bill 5258.
Thank you. So close.
All right.
We will now move to House Bill 5217 by Representative Nardone. Vice Chair Speakman. 5217. Correct. 5217.
Opening the hearing on House Bill 5217 by Representative Nardone, which validates and ratifies amendments to the Home Rule Charter of the Town of Coventry. Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and members of the committee. This would ratify some amendments to the charter in Coventry, and it does three things. What they want to do is they want to appoint a committee every 2 years to review the charter. And the other thing that it would do is they want to change the rules for the public comment. They want the public comment to be at the beginning of each town council meeting rather than the end. And the last final thing it wants to do is it wants to change the qualifications for the town manager. Right now, the town manager needs a master's degree and needs 6 years of experience in the field of managing a town. And the town of Coventry is finding it very difficult to hire a new town manager. And they want to take a... I'm sorry. Is that better? Mm-hmm. Did you catch everything before that?
Well,
all right.
Yeah, but it all might not have.
All right, well, the other thing they want to do is they want to change the qualifications for hiring a town manager because they're having a very difficult time hiring a new town manager. So what they want to do is they want to get rid of the master's degree requirement and put, just have finance and management experience, and they want more years of experience and less education, just a bachelor's degree rather than a master's degree and the 4 years experience. Did I explain that all right?
Yes.
And that's about it. It's belt and suspenders, nothing, so, and that's what this is, would ratify.
And might I say, there is a resolution from the town, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay?
Are there any questions for Representative Nardone? There are no other witnesses, so thank you, Representative.
Thank you.
That closes the hearing on...
We now move to Bill 5016 by Representative Slater. Vice Chair Fogarty, please.
Hi, Mike. House Bill 5016 is an act relating to taxation. Property subject to taxation exemption includes the real and tangible personal property of the Providence Community Health Centers, a Rhode Island domestic nonprofit corporation located in Providence, Rhode Island, on the list of properties exempt from taxation. And are there any questions on that from the? No, hearing none. Oh.
All right.
Oh, I didn't see you. I'm so sorry, Representative Slater. By all means.
Thank you. I could have got out of here quick, I guess. I didn't realize we're moving fast, you know. But just to clarify, I put this in for the Providence Community Health Centers. For many years, since when they came into existence, they were always treated as a nonprofit. And maybe I want to say 3 years ago, when the assessor that had come in for the city reviewed all the nonprofits and for some reason felt like they fell into a loophole and began taxing them. And they provide a great organization. They provide a great service to many residents in the city of Providence. And they service about a third of the population in Providence and take a huge burden away from the hospitals that take care of so much of our uncompensated care. So I think this is one of the few things we could do for them. So, and I have a letter of support from the mayor, and there should be a council. There should be something from the council. If it hasn't gotten into the record for the committee, I'll get that here.
Okay.
Thank you, Representative.
Thanks.
Okay, and there is a written testimony from, as you said, Mayor Alaza. And we also have, are there any questions, I should say, for Representative? No, there aren't any. Okay, Merrill's going to be first. Okay, so Merrill Thomas is here to testify. Is he on the line? Okay.
Thank you, Representative.
Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Representative Homeland Committee. I am Merrill Thomas, the CEO of the Providence Community Health Centers. And the Providence Community Health Centers have been providing health care to the citizens of Providence since 1968. We have always been a tax-exempt 501(c)(3), as Representative Slater just said. But a couple of years ago, the city's new tax assessors office suddenly decided that we didn't fit their language. And so they're recommending that we move in this direction to resolve the issue. The city of Providence does not have a health department or provide any direct care. We've been doing this for 50 years. We currently provide care to over 60,000 patients in Providence. 1 out of every 3 Providence residents come to our health centers. So we are a key provider of health care in the city. We are currently providing care to 80% of our patients are people of color, and we've played a key role in testing for COVID-19. And in the coming months, we expect to play a major role in the vaccination of all of our patients once the stimulus package passes. So we do not receive any direct funding from the city of Providence and really never have. So the 501(c)(3), even though they don't question that, they have not been able to work out the details in their own form. So you have a letter of support from the mayor to have us added to the state level. And as Representative Slater said, we're waiting for the one for the council, but they are in a full agreement as well. So we truly are a 501(c)(3) with a 15-member governing board that is all 9%. 9 of the 15 are users of the health center. We are a nonprofit that does not turn anybody away for care. We take all people regardless of any issues. And so we feel we fit the state regulations, and this is the pathway the city would like us to take. So we support passage of this bill. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Thomas, for your testimony, and thank you for your work on COVID for the community. Are there any questions for Mr. Thomas? No? Okay, hearing none. I will close the hearing on House Bill 5016. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you. Okay. We will now move to House Bill 5127 by Representative Ruggiero. Vice Chair Speckman?
All right, House Bill 5127 by Rep. Ruggiero, it relates to highways and abandonment of...
Turn the microphone on.
Sorry. Thank you. House Bill 5127 by Rep. Ruggiero relates to highways, abandonment of roads. Is Rep. Ruggiero here?
Rep. Ruggiero had to leave to testify in another hearing. Okay. She said that there is a town...
resolution?
Thank you. Resolution supporting this bill, and it's pretty much as it says.
This authorizes the town of Middletown to buy the abandoned highway from the abutting owner.
Yes.
There are no other witnesses on this. Are there any questions? Hearing none, this closes the hearing on H127.
We now move to House Bill 5180 by Representative Azzanero, Vice Chair Fogarty.
So House Bill 180 from Rep. Azzanaro or Chairman Azzanaro is an act relating to property relief and amends the definition of disabled for the purposes of property tax relief to include veterans who earn less than $30,000 annually and who receive disability benefits. Okay, and I don't think...
Rep. Azzanero's in another committee this evening.
Okay.
He's chairing one. So, any questions on the bill?
Yes, go.
While the representative is not here, I do want to state that I publicly do support this bill, especially because this would provide a lot of relief for our low-income veterans, especially and specifically in the Mount Pleasant and Elmhurst neighborhood in Providence. We do have a disproportionate amount of veterans who have provided a lot of service to our country and are now low income and could definitely benefit from this property tax relief, especially now during the times of COVID. So I just want to state my support for this.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Any other questions? I don't think we have any testimony on this bill. So I move closure of House Bill 5180.
Okay, we now move to 5107 by Representative Ruggiero. Vice Chair Speakman.
House Bill 5107 by Rep. Ruggiero deals with the retirement of municipal employees and the Middletown municipal employees' retirement. Rep. Ruggiero is at another hearing. Are there any questions on this?
She also said she had a resolution for this,
Okay.
too, from the town of Middletown.
So, there was a resolution provided. Any questions on the bill?
There's no other testimony on the bill.
Hearing none.
Hearing none, we'll close the hearing on H5107.
Okay, we now go to our last bill of the evening. It's been a quite interesting evening.
Yes, so the last bill is 5128, and this is from Representative Bennett, an act relating to towns and cities on zoning ordinance, provides for the preservation of housing density when a municipality allows alternative uses within a residential zone. Transfer of the residential density would be to locations at the discretion of the municipality. And Representative is not here to testify on his bill. Are there any questions regarding the bill? If not, we do have some written testimony from Sue Andre Bose from Climate and Energy. Henry Bollinger has written testimony. Rep. Bennett, is he going to be calling in?
No.
No, he's not, okay. Janet Coyne has offered written testimony. Meredith Brady and Nicholas Ucci has also written testimony. So that concludes House Bill 5128. So I close that.
Okay, that one closes. Okay, at this time, we're coming to the end, and I believe we're at the end. And to everybody who participated this evening, thank you. It was quite a fulfilling evening. I want to thank all the committee members and all the people who assisted this evening, and also all the people who were watching this evening. I thank you. With that, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
With that said, good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.